We must stop the terror. Now watch this drive.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. Another lovely week in the great world of Canada, where I am currently residing. Why do I have this phone there? Fucking Christ almighty. Falling apart as usual. The show is phenomenal. The number one podcast out of Taber, Alberta. The biggest live audience in the world, as one woman stated. Who needs a laugh track if they're not funny? And to that I say, that is live and that is the audience. Upcoming stand-up dates, we are September 5th in Tofield, Alberta, October 3rd in Fernie, BC, October 4th, Castlegar, BC, October 10th in Cambridge, Ontario, October 11th in Toronto, Ontario, October 12th, Albuquerque, New Mexico, October 17th in Berwyn, Alberta, October 18th in Grand Prairie, Alberta, October 19th in Edmonton, October 24, 25 in Niagara Falls, November 7th in Lethbridge, Alberta, November 8th in Medicine Hat, November 23rd, Dallas, Texas, November 29th, Fort Worth, Texas, and December 5th in Red Deer, Alberta. Tickets available at dangercatshop.com. I will also be on the road all of September with Jason Rouse. Crushing on the show today. Tickets available at dangercatshop.com. Merch, also dangercatshop.com. Patreon.com/dangercat69 to support this show. Keep the show alive. Keep the show alive. What a week I've had. Summer is coming to a close. You know, kids are going back to school now. We're watching the parents upload their photos of, the depressing nature of watching your child grow. You know, as you get older, you know, it settles in that time is passing, your children are getting older, and we witness this at this time of year. Every year, everybody's like, oh, the kid's going to grade 4. And me, as a solo idiot with no children, you know, just a fucking dummy. No, when I say that solo, I mean, I got no kids to post on the internet and gloat on how well they're doing in their minor sports, their school activities, whether or not my child is a genius or not. I rely solely on the validation of strangers on the internet. I rely on algorithms and analytics of social media platforms to tell me that a video did phenomenal, how many times it's been shared. I get the pleasure of screenshotting analytics and sharing it to, you know, soulless, mindless morons like myself that deem these numbers as like some form of accomplishment on this planet, and I crave it by the day. So instead of watching, you know, this human that I'm molding to become whatever it may be, a scaffolder, most of you are probably going to have like, we want our children to be the best that they possibly can, and some of us just can't face the fact that the best that this maybe kid is going to be is a laborer, and that's okay. We need those people for now until AI takes over, you know? So it is a tough time right now. The future is grim, and every week we're reminded of it. You know, your families are important to you. You do your best to keep them safe. And as we slowly walk into our demise with AI technology taking over, some of you may be upset about the mass immigration in Canada. Some of you may be upset about the inflation that's taking place in Canada. Some of you might be upset over the fact that Mark Carney now is backing off on America, and that was his whole campaign stand, is we're going to be tough on America, and now he's lifting the tariffs, those like retaliatory tariffs that he put on America, and we're coming to make a deal. So the elbows, in fact, were not up at all. They were elbows deep. I told you from the beginning, you don't listen to me. And that's the upsetting part about this podcast, is like I am looking into the crystal ball, into the future. That's what I do. I'm a moron, okay? I take wild guesses on the show. And what did we see? What did we witness? We watched the boomer class of the nation all just slowly I wouldn't even call it a scurry. I would call it a shuffle, if anything. They shuffled their little carts that they push along to assist them with while walking down to the voting booths to protect what little wealth that they have. And they voted for a man that was going to be tough on Donald Trump because that was the biggest issue in their lives, right? And now it comes out that it didn't matter at all. It turns out that maybe, just maybe, all these billionaires and these bankers and politicians and lawyers and the wealthy class, the 1%, if you will, the upper class, all hang out with one another. They all impose these laws, pass these bills to help their friends out. It's like we gotta condense our worlds. We're always looking up and trying to figure out why these people are doing that to us, because you can't fathom having that much power. When you condense it down to your world and what little power you have, maybe you give your friend a deal. You work at a plumbing outfit, right? And you're able to give your friend a discount, and you don't give that discount to anybody else. That's the power you wield in this world. That's what you can control. You're a small business owner. You give your friends a free loaf of bread because, he supports your every now and then. Hey, you give them a little gift, a little something. And you have to think of that in a grander scale. And then you understand why they do that. So there's no sense bitching. We all want the power. We all want the money. We all want this life that we all imagine in our heads, instead of just appreciating the moments with your kids and sharing the photo on Facebook. That little moment, you can show that your child is doing much better than your neighbors. You got to take that. You got to take those moments and just cherish them. Don't take them for granted. None of us are, I'm 34 now, turning 35 here in the fall. I had big dreams when I was younger. I had massive dreams. I was going to be somebody. I was going to move and shake the world. I had it by the balls, I was young man, big dreams, the testosterone pumping through my balls. Throughout my body felt good. You take on these challenges. You learn a martial art. You compete in martial arts in front of a large audience and get knocked out in front of your grandmother, and you make them feel very guilty for some reason. They feel guilty for being there and watching their grandson get his bell rung. It's difficult. I mean, it would be tough to watch. When I was young, I'd be like, who cares? I'm fine. Now, as years pass, and I realize that maybe CTE is settling in. I'm not as swift as I once was. I never was, if I'm being honest with you. I'll be quite frank with you folks today. We're going to be vulnerable on this show today. But that's the thing, is you got to protect your world. You got to protect your world. And I got to say, an article that has been sweeping the nation. Many people are talking about it. This particular incident that took place in Lindsay, Ontario. A lot of folks upset about this. Now, a man was charged after allegedly assaulting a home intruder in Lindsay, Ontario. An alleged intruder and homeowner are both facing charges. Kawartha Lakes Police. A man is facing an assault charge assault charges for allegedly injuring an intruder at his home in Lindsay, Ontario. And now this has all the people on social media. It's coming out of the woodworks, that a lot of folks are coming out and they have their opinions, like our friend Doug Ford, home intruder. We want to hear his take. Something is broken. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. But keep in mind, these are the people that are supposed to be on our team, right? They're supposed to be.
Story in Lindsay. So this criminal that's wanted by the police breaks into this guy's house.
Let's go back here.
Everyone hear about
I gotta get
the story in Lindsay? So this criminal that's wanted by the police breaks into this guy's house. This guy gives him a beating, and this guy gets charged. And the other guy gets charged. But something is broken. I know if someone breaks into my house or someone else's, you're going to fight for your life. This guy has a weapon. You're going to use any force you possibly can to protect your family. I'm telling you, I know everyone would. I'd be scared to break into Kevon's house. Look at it, he's like a linebacker. He beat the living crap out of the guy, as he should. Because enough's enough here. Violence and breaking into people's homes, putting guns to their head. And guess what? Some bleeding heart judge, little Johnny, he didn't have a good upbringing. So we're going to let him out on bail 5 more times because he's on his 5th, being let out on bail 5 times, just to go do the same thing the next day. I'll tell you one thing. I get more calls than anyone in the country. People are done with this. They're absolutely done. They're finished. You should be able to protect your family. When someone's going in there to harm your family and your kids, you should use all resources you possibly can to protect your family. And maybe these criminals will think twice about breaking into someone's home.
Thank you for that, Doug. If it wasn't for guys like Doug taking a stand, we're also talking about a gentleman that is the premier of the one province where crime is absolutely rampant. And you know what, Doug? I just disagree. I agree. I honestly, if I'm going to shoot it straight with you here, Doug, I think that we as a society, need to come together and realize that maybe just putting the keys on the front porch is the best move. I agree with the Toronto police. Crime would be down if we just let things, just call it socialized borrowing. We'll call it socialized borrowing. That's what we'll do. Instead of allowing somebody to break into your home, they're just going to come in and they're going to borrow it forever. It is funny watching now is the time. We're also talking about a guy who is, if I'm picking a home to break into, not saying I would, all right? If I'm picking a home to break into, I would imagine all that money that he made off those stickers bought some pretty nice stuff over the COVID era. I imagine that sticker money, you probably got a few nice flat screen TVs. I imagine that the cars that you drive around, Doug, are pretty nice. And I wouldn't imagine that somebody like you would just put them on the front doorstep. No, not you. I imagine someone like you that lives in these ivory towers has a security team that is constantly monitoring the areas that you get to reside in. But for us, we are just humble peasants. That's what we are. We're all just humble peasants, Doug, and we will abide by what the Toronto police advised us to do. I'm not out in Toronto, but I'm out here, and I be leaving my keys on my front porch as well. I want the criminals to have a nice, easy way
to prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home. Leave your fobs at your front door.
There you
go.
go.
Breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns. They're real guns.
Wow.
They're loaded.
There you have it. I mean, the Toronto police had come out and they directly told us exactly the plan to keep your family safe, Doug. I'm not attacking anybody. I put the key fob on the front doorstep. And this guy still came in. And now, all of a sudden, we're looking at a bigger issue. Even where is it? Let's get our guy Pierre Poilievre from yesterday. This isn't just a campaign. 2 days ago. This is what we want. It's going to run an ad. So, get the hell out. Pierre Poilievre says non-Canadian criminals who commit crimes should be deported. Now, this sounds like it's anti-immigrant, and we don't want that. God Almighty, it's a constant. Now here we go. When is this video from? Is this the one I'm looking for? No, I should have broke this. Something's broken. Just like the system that we exist in, something is broken. And I know this is supposed to be a comedy podcast, but to comment on a lot of this is nauseating. It's exhausting. You know, many folks looked at the people that look at Canada as this haven, and it is just a safe, and everybody is feeling warm and welcome. I don't think they have. This definitely is not the video that I was. Not the video that I was looking for. It was. Fuck's sakes. Pierre Poilievre. Man charged after. Where was his comment on it? He had the most dumbest comment imaginable. But it's interesting. It's exhausting keeping up with this stuff, and sometimes I just want to kick my feet up and enjoy what little things that I have. You know, I think I think it's getting to a boiling point. If I'm cutting you straight, I think it's getting to a boiling point now with a lot of folks. Like the pressure is on with politics, and I find that most people are abandoning themselves from a political party because of the concerns that they have as a citizen. And I think it's with both liberal and conservatives, because those most vocal for both parties that aren't a part of the parties seem to be insane, don't they? A lot of it now. What I'm seeing, politics is now it's become a business for everybody, because we're seeing like these commentators online that are making a lot of fucking money off of being a political commentator and advocating for one side. So that way, you know, you have your audience there. There is an audience for those that do lean conservative, right? And they just want to hear their thoughts get validated. You know, they think something or they hear something, and they just need like a character to attach themselves to that will validate their thoughts and opinions that are in agreement with the certain party that they're voting for. And then this person becomes like their talking head that they get this is what I heard. This is so that, you know what I mean? And it works for both teams, because everybody's got, like, similar to me. What do I do at the beginning of the show? I'm shilling tickets to you. I'm shilling a Patreon to you. Similar to like the morons that are picking a side in this political nonsense, like taking a political stance with one team. When in reality, we are watching in real time. Let's take the internet censorship debate. We've seen bills tabled from both parties that aim to censor the internet under the guise of protecting the children. How are they different from one another? Because I'd imagine if one gets power and they're able to wield that power, once you give them an inch, they're going to keep going and going and going. And it seems to be here anyways, that we just slowly let it this takeover is slowly happening. Many people and I guess what I mean with like these commentators is then they have to change their speed as well. Like we're watching the liberal commentators are insane. Their stance, it seems like this far left is so infused with the Palestine talking points that they've now abandoned anything that is direct involvement with Canada and like the problems that exist in Canada. It's taking the issue of Palestine and those in Canada that can affect the outcome of what's happening. Their focus is there, right? And now what the right is doing is they're taking the right has become essentially what they would call the extreme right now, with the talking points of mass immigration and race is heavily involved. Like they've now adopted that to further this idea, or almost it seems to further the cash flow, because you have to keep going, right? As soon as you have to keep going. The money. It's all about money. If you're not doing things for money, what are you doing it for? Why do you wake up in the morning if it's not for money? We are soulless. That's what I guess that's the point I'm trying. We're all soulless. Nobody's creating anything. Nobody's going out and they're making this beautiful, 30 minutes of beautiful stand. No. It's about the money. Don't create art. Don't create anything. Just do what's going to make you the most money and get you to where you need to be the fastest. Abandon any morals that you've had. Pick a team. Pick a fucking team already. How hard is that? Is it that hard? Do you need help? Do you need help picking a team? I'll help you pick a team. Fuck. But that's what we're watching. And then we watch our politicians. Then an issue like what happened in Lindsay, Ontario, right? Like this criminal breaks in. It's a break and enter. The man defends his home and gets charged with assault for defending his home. And we scratch our heads. It's like, how did it become? Because they're all in cahoots. This doesn't just happen. This just doesn't happen. And now it's gotten to a point where the right can take a stance, right? The right can take a stance and be like, you gotta be able to protect your family. Because that's like their focus is like, hey, we got to focus on the nuclear family. We got to protect the families. Yeah, protect the family. Protect them online. That's how we're gonna protect we're gonna censor the internet. We're gonna protect your families. That's the guardrail. That's how they bubble wrap it. That's how they bubble wrap the guardrails that lead you right into the meat grinder, right into the wood chipper. They just take it. Hey, yeah, we're gonna protect your family. No, you're not. If Fat Doug Ford showed up with a fucking shovel, speaking of which, we watched Doug Ford during the pandemic. He was out in the streets shoveling snow to try and help out local Canadians that were stuck. They got their cars high centered. All these Hyundais and these little Toyotas that were high centered. He's out there with a scoop shovel trying to help out the local community. You see that guy pull out a shovel, you're like, great, I'm going to be here for hours. Give me that shovel, for Christ's sakes. He's going to die of a heart attack, and now we got a bigger problem on my hands. And it's like, I got a dead politician at the trunk of my car. And all I wanted to do was just get unstuck. And this guy thought he was going to be a hero. And over here, he's like 4 scoops in. He's keeled over. He's in diabetic shock. His blood sugar's low. We had to go and get him an orange soda so that way he can get back to his fucking feet. It was a disaster, right? Top to bottom, it was a goddamn disaster. This jackass ruined my afternoon. That's what he did. He ruined my afternoon. And then we get Pierre. He comes out and he starts making a stance. You know, he starts taking a little stand, and let's hear what he has to say. You know, get the hell out, Pierre Poilievre. Now he's in, where is he? Where is this conservative? He's out here in Surrey. You know, we got all these guys there behind him, and they're all, yes. What do you got for us, Pierre? Lay it on us. Let's hear it.
Who said, well, the other day we had a judge who said, well, this individual is a non-Canadian, and if they get a high conviction, they'll be deported from the country. Well, that's what we want. If someone commits a crime when they're here as a visitor, we want them to do a sentence in prison and then get the hell out of Canada. We don't want to keep criminals in our streets. We don't want to invite criminals to our country. Every single criminal who visits our country.
Look at this guy in the back getting nervous. You can't write this. Listen, you can't write this anymore. Comedy is reality now, and reality isn't even, like, we can't even. And reality is comedy. You cannot write this shit, okay? 8 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe you might have been able to sit down in a writer's room. Now look at what's happening. Look at the art. Look at the comedy being produced on our national networks. Okay, it's not great. It's not great because it's so far from reality. Is hilarious. That's the problem. Reality is the funniest shit imaginable. Pierre Poilievre is up here talking about all this stuff, which we've seen that, unfortunately, that a lot of what would they call it? The East Asian community, if I'm being politically correct with the news, and he's talking about this in front of East Asians, and you see a few of them nodding along, and then the one guy in the far corner who could, if I was to, I'm sure he's a wonderful guy. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. Before you hammer down on me, I'm sure he's just a wonderful, upright, great citizen of this country. He's paying his taxes and he's doing everything that he needs to do to be immerse himself in Canadian culture. He's diving right in the fucking pool. He's wrapped in the Canadian flag. Blah 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 blah. Right? He goes to hockey games. He drinks Tim Hortons. He wears a fucking lumberjack hat. It's all good, right? And now we have the conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, in front of these guys being like, if old cross-eyed Carl over here, we got to kick these guys out of the country. We got to kick them out of the country. We're getting loose on law. Let's go.
They'll be deported from the country. Well, that's what we want. If someone commits a crime.
The white guy got a smirk in the background. The white guy you got to hyperanalyze these videos, you got to hyperanalyze. The white guy in the background surrounded by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Indians smirks in the background because he knows what Pierre's trying to say. The other, what did I say? 3, 6, 8, 3, 6, 9. They don't have a clue what he's referring to. And in their minds, it's not me. I'm part of I'm behind the conservative leader here. This guy is for me and me only. The white guy in the background gets a smirk because he knows what he's talking about. And that's what I'm saying is what reality is the funniest thing imaginable right now. And this isn't even me trying to be racist. This is a video that CTV has put on their website. All I'm doing is watching the reactions of those behind me, and we see the guy on the far right, right? Far right, he's a little nervous. He's a little nervous because he knows Pierre's talking about probably a few of his buddies that are up to no good, possibly. I'm just using this. We're riffing off the video, okay? We're having fun. The white guy on the far left here, he gets a smirk. He gets a smirk. Why would he smirk? What could you possibly mean by that, Pierre?
Time when they're here as a visitor, we want them to do a sentence in prison and then get the hell out of Canada. We don't want to keep criminals in our streets. We don't want to invite criminals to our country. Every single criminal who visits our country and is a non-Canadian should be quickly deported from our country. The Liberals, under Mark Carney, have lost track of 600 convicted criminals who are wandering our streets, committing even more crime. These are not even Canadian citizens. We need to bring back an immigration system that brings in only the right people in the right numbers. People who lawfully enter our country and follow all the rules are welcome to contribute, but only in the numbers we can absorb, and only law-abiding, hardworking people need to be allowed into our country.
You can't make this shit up, folks. You just can't make this shit up. That's what I mean. Reality has become so funny in this country that you cannot script, you cannot write anything remotely close to what these guys are up to. Politics in Canada is too funny. The elbows up stuff, completely out the window. The elbows are down. Actually, they're deep. They're very deep. Mark Carney now has he's removed these retaliatory tariffs on American goods. The French now don't know what to do with what was it, like maybe $400,000 worth of American merchandise that they've purchased. They have no idea what to do with that, so they're just going to smash it, apparently. I tell you, we what do you do? What do you do? You sit back and laugh? Is that what you do? You just sit back and laugh and have a giggle at all of this? That's all you really can do. But I will. The veil is down, unfortunately, folks. You know, when I'm saying that reality is unsettling, this will deeply upset you, folks. Unfortunately, we have some very, very upsetting news to report on this show today. So CSIS tweets out, back in June, CSIS launched its Pride season celebrations with a few guest speakers, thanks to the talented, two-spirited hoop dancer McKenna Rankin-Guerin, the hilarious Canadian comedian Ava Val, and inspirational public servant David De Silva for visiting and performing and speaking at the CSIS national headquarters. Now, what we have here, folks, the veil is down. The veil is down. Comedians, Canada, you know, they're intertwined, and I hate to tell it to you. And there you have it. You have a Canadian comedian, Ava Val, working with CSIS, who's blown our cover. And I hate to be the one. Now you're looking, the cover is blown. I hate to break it to you, but now Canadian comedy is being, I guess, exposed in a sense of being a MK Ultra level type operation on the public. And that's unfortunate because I've been a part of this scheme this whole time. You thought those cancellations were just out of nowhere? You thought that it was just natural for somebody to go through something like that? No. It was comedy pitted against one another, and it was all a big scheme. It was all fugazi, fairy dust. And now Ava Val has to come out and expose us for what we've been up to. This is a high-grade level operation that has been taking place inside the borders of Canada. And now, because of, I don't know, is it ego? Is it the search for fame? Is it the money? Because we all know that Canadian comics are being overpaid. We all know that. Canadian comics are being overpaid, and I'm tired of it. And now, thanks to Ava coming out and exposing us for all being intertwined in a big, massive government operation. Because you know what? We have to be honest. We have to be honest about the Canadian intelligence agencies here. Is we don't possess the resources to topple foreign governments similar to like the CIA. We just don't have that. So what do? We undermine our public is what we do. We undermine our own people by presenting them comedy and fooling them into thinking that this is an art form. That this is all curated to entertain you, and that's all that it was meant to do. But no. Now our cover is blown thanks to Ava. And it's a sad, sad day for all of us inside the Canadian comedy community, because now everybody is investigating it. They're calling this JK Ultra. That's what they're calling this, They're calling this JK Ultra. Everybody's panties are in a knot now. Like, how could you do this to us? And I don't apologize. I needed a career. I needed something to rely on. Apparently running around the countryside being a drunk wasn't quite it. CSIS approached me and they were like, listen, buddy, we got something for you. We're going to do something for the comics on this side of the fence. We're going to do something for you guys. And it's just going to be a war against one another. We need you to take a bit of a stance against, these festivals for not putting it up what you would deem. It was all laid out in the plan. Okay. It was a binder about as thick as those Epstein files of the phase one. It was all that. It was a nice plan. We were all gone to a boardroom. We had comics from the East Coast to the West Coast. And we all sat there. And when Sam Brett and I sat there with the head of CSIS. And we said, you know what? We'll play the bad guys. This is wrestling. You need bad guys. You need good guys. We'll let Ava to present herself, and I'll be correct with the pronouns. I'll be correct here on this show, because we were all working in unison. And thanks to her, the whole plan has come crashing down because one of us just needed the recognition. And now that everybody knows that Canadian comedy is working hand in hand with CSIS, it has ruined our plans for the next 8 years. Now I'm scrambling. Now I don't know what to do. So thank you, Ava. One big operation. That's all we had to do. We just had to work together in unison. But no. You had to just get on the CSIS goddamn page and take all the fame for yourself. We mean, even though we were working together, they needed bad guys. They needed to write about somebody. And Sam, Brett, and I sat there and we said, it'll be us. It makes sense for it to be us. Nobody else is stepping to the plate. We'll do it. We will be the NWO. We will be the bad guys. You can write whatever you want about us. We don't mind. We don't care. Just, if there comes a time when the walls come crashing down, we just eject. Okay? We eject on it. If anybody gets any closer to the truth, we just have to abandon it and have nothing to fucking do with it. But no. It's sad, really. At the end of the day, it's pretty sad, That's how now you got to look into what this is all about, what we are dealing with here, and how grotesque it can all be, and how quickly it can all come crumbling down because one person's ego gets in the way. We had a mission to complete, and it wasn't going to be complete until Just for Laughs Gags was back. You knew that the mission, that was going to be the dog whistle for everybody, bring us all together. Just for Laughs Gags was going to come back, and they were going to do these funny little gags, and they were going to put men in the female washroom and see the reaction. It was going to be a male walks into the female washroom and comes out a female. And then everybody's like, oh, all the people freaking out about it. And then a female walks out and then they're like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And it's a huge gag. Everybody's fucking laughing. And then that's how we knew that the mission was complete, that we've completely eroded the Canadian public's minds. And all of them are just servants. They're just servants. And we feed them slop, the worst comedy that you've ever seen in your life. And we just feed it to you like pigs at a trough, and everybody's gobbling it up. It's like, yeah, this is great. We can't wait. When's Uncle Heck gonna do another joke about Trudeau? And I'm like, just you wait. I'm gonna get a man arrested on an Air Canada airline for wearing a blackface shirt. And then everybody's like, yeah, feed me more. And I'm like, you haven't even seen the beginning of it. And then I got this retarded newfie, right? He was in on it the whole way. And I said, hey, you retard newfie, when you go on Kill Tony, I need you to say this, okay? First off, the funniest bit that you can do is say that you have the only comedy club in Newfoundland. Say that you have the only comedy club in Newfoundland, but meanwhile, it's just a pub that has karaoke nights and you do stand-up on Thursdays. That's hilarious. I wrote that. I did. I wrote that. And he's like, yeah, boy. Yes, boy. And I just said, you know what? Know what else I need you to do? I need you to bomb for a minute. And he said, not a problem. Not a problem. I'll do my little shtick that I do at Newfoundland. And I said, that's perfect. And then me and you pit at one another, you know? Then I got more enemies in this shit. And it all came together. But then Ava Val just had to hop on CSIS's Twitter page and throw a big smile on. And now the plan has all come crashing down. You know, it was all coming together. Every ounce of my plan was coming together. Sam Walker was going to come out and he's a reptilian underlord. You guys don't know that. That's why he knows all these secrets about what's going on with government operations. He was the one that actually pieced this together. He pitched it. He pitched it. And we were happy. We were all wanted to be a part of Sam's big plan. And we couldn't have been more enthusiastic because it was like, God damn, man, you really thought this through. You had a binder. Nobody just shows up to a meeting with a binder and doesn't have a plan, you know? Phase 1 of the Epstein files. We remember that. All the influencers got those phase 1 of the Epstein files. And it was like, this was all in a Netflix documentary. We know all of this already. We already knew what he was up to. This guy, he's a brilliant math teacher. Duh. He's a brilliant math teacher that understands taxes like no other. Of course he needs an island for his friends. They were just hanging out, exchanging tax information. You assholes. But it's rather depressing, isn't it? Watching everything crumble before your eyes. Everything that you worked for. Now what? Now I don't know what to do. My own people are about to turn on me once this episode comes out. And that's unfortunate. Because I worked very hard. I wanted everybody to believe that I was nowhere even close to, I spent the beginning of this episode, just massaging it in that I'm still one of you. I spent the whole episode sitting here massaging, hey, they're not on our team, conservative, liberal, blah, 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 blah. And then what do? I expose myself to soften the blow. Because that's what you do when you're guilty of doing something of this magnitude, of duping the public. Not everybody can handle that type of information, and I understand that. And many of you, your heads might be spinning. And I apologize for that. Some of you don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. And even better, buy tickets to the show. And now you wonder, it all makes sense, doesn't it? It all makes sense. Why do Canadian comics want to be on all these goddamn shows? Well, Jerry, let me tell you. All these festivals just for laughs. Why do they want to be on Canadian television? Because then you're one step closer to being a part of JK Ultra. the biggest con in Canadian comedy. You know, if you play your cards right, you're a good little boy. You got to be a government lapdog. And then you get into the writer's room of this hour has 22 minutes. And you really get to watch your career flourish. Now, we when I say we, I mean I took an alternate route. You know, apparently if you go on the internet and you're hailed out and you just start talking shit, you become a useful asset in all of this. In the grand scheme of things, you become an asset. And they viewed me as the perfect heel. And even when I'm speaking right now, for those that are tuning in for the first time, I want you to know that it wasn't meant to be this way. It just fell into my lap. Holy shit. It's all dumb. It's all dumb. Everything is fake and gay. Keep that in mind. Everything is fake and gay. And if I'm being real, just enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Everything is coming at such a hyper speed, and we're supposed to pretend like we care about every little fucking thing that takes place, you know? Every little thing, every problem that you have, you got to blame it on somebody else. You didn't cause this. You didn't get into the position that you're in because of yourself. It's because of someone else. You have to blame other people. You didn't get to chase your dreams because you gave up on them. No, it's your kid's fault. It's your kid's fault. Your wife decided one night that we should have unprotected sex after going to like some mundane paint night that she invited you to because a bunch of other couples were going to, and you drank excessively, and so did she, just to like numb the pain of boringness that was taking place there because you needed excitement. You were a coke addict at one point in your life. You know, this just doesn't fix it anymore. 7 months ago, you know, 7, 9 fucking months ago, whatever. Pick your timeline. 2 years prior to that paint night, you were snorting coke off her ass. You know, you were getting sucked off in a movie theater. There was excitement. There was this adrenaline rush that both of you had. Now you're married. You're going from mimosas and mimosas. Mimosas? When's the last time you drank a mimosa? Now you're going to brunch and drinking mimosas. You're going to paint nights. And it would just so happen to fall on a night where you had a Friday off. You got a little too drunk. You knocked her up, and it's her fault. She didn't want to. She didn't take the pill. You actually, both of you, forgot that you blew one in her. Just a shotgun blast up her uterus, and now you got this kid that sucked everything's out the window. Now there's no more fun. And we get mad when guys are having fun, don't we? We get upset when guys are having more fun than you are. You know, you look at other people and you're like, damn, that guy's having fun. He's having way more fun than me. What am I doing? I'm going to a youth soccer game. I don't even like soccer. This kid doesn't even chase the ball. He's picking the dandelions. I got the dandelion picker of a kid. And then you see guys having fun and you got to direct that outrage towards them. And I like that. That's what I like about most people, is they're dishonest with themselves. Instead of looking internally and realizing that their lives might be in a little bit of a mess, they look elsewhere. As you should. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with pushing your own, pushing aside the look into the mirror and seeing it for what it is. And you just look externally to blame your problems on something else, and nothing better than watching some guys have fun and you blame them. Like, for instance, some of you are going to get mad about this next article. South Asian advocates not surprised by backlash to Punjabi music video produced in the Yellowknife. And RCMP investigating possible use of unlawful firearms in the video. See, you heard that, and then what did you said something racist, didn't you? When in reality, you're just mad that you're not having fun. Admit it to yourself. Guys having fun, you see guys having fun, and then you get upset about it. And to me, that is the correct reaction. You need to displace and remove any sort of self-reflection and direct all of that anger towards somebody else that's having more fun than you. This looks like, look at this guy. He's got a handgun. He's out in the middle of the bush with his boys. They're wielding firearms. At least, there's a little bit of finger discipline here in the photo that we're looking at. A scene from a music video that showed a group of men driving cars around Yellowknife, flashing what appeared to be handguns and lip-singing to a Punjabi rap song. Two advocates for the South Asian community in the Northwest Territory say they're not surprised by the racist backlash following a recent music video, but Yellowknife can do better. A music video which surfaced last week has been taken down, showed a group of men driving cars around Yellowknife, flashing what appeared to be handguns and lip-singing to a Punjabi rap song. It sparked a flood of online reaction, including racist and threatening comments directed towards South Asians in the city. People who spoke with CBC called the video 100% inappropriate and embarrassing for their community, while condemning what they say was racist backlash. The RCMP say they're now investigating the video for potential unlawful firearms activity. Guys having fun. Guys are out having fun. He said the video is inappropriate given the uptick of gang violence and drugs in Northwest Territory communities, and that suggests and that guests on Indigenous land should be following. In this case, Yellowknife's Dean laws, culture, and values. Communities are suffering and is a big concern for communities, so having that displayed in a lighthearted manner is not in the best taste, he said. You know what I mean? You can't go out and just wield firearms. You can't go out and wave them around and do a music video. You can't have fun anymore in this country. The guys are scared. Come on, like death threats. It's serious. It is funny that guys that went around acting like they're acting very gangsterish, I guess to say. They're doing a rap video. They did a rap video, and then they're like, "We're scared." There is something funny about that. It's like presenting yourself online with a handgun, which we all know the laws in Canada, right? If you're not Canadian, you cannot just take a handgun out in public. And then for somebody to come out and be like, "Come on, guys." It was a little lighthearted. They were lip syncing. They had a handgun. Now, whether the gun is real or not, I don't know. I cannot confirm. The guys are scared, though. They were out in public. They had a handgun. They were having a little fun. Guys were having fun. What happened to guys having fun in this country? Huh? Come on. Sukham Dinze, a lawyer in Yellowknife who was born in Punjab, India, said she thought the video was something lighthearted and fun. And exactly, in the article, people are looking to blame someone on the difficulties we're facing in life right now, inflation, housing, etc. And South Asian people are unfortunately the target of that. See what I mean? This is what I mean. Sukham knew exactly what it is. A couple guys outside waving a firearm in their hands and dancing to a Punjabi rap song, just having a little fun with one another. And, the guy's having fun, and you're going to misdirect the fun that you're not having. Quite honestly, if you disregard the law, you can have a lot of fun. If you just ignore the law, there is a lot of fun to be had. And that is somebody who has ignored the law numerous times, telling you to have fun, that is. She said, while it's important to appreciate Indigenous culture and values, we can all learn from each other. Food and music are two examples of how we do that. Culture flows in many directions. We are not a homogenous society. The maker of the music video, reached by phone, told CBC he would consult legal counsel before doing an interview on why his company made the video and how it's been received. In a news release Friday, Yellowknife RCMP said the filmmaker behind the video has been cooperative in the investigation and that further information will be provided as it becomes available. Whether or not the intention of these individuals was to glorify gang culture in Yellowknife, these videos have been alarming for the entire community, including various racialized community groups. God, we've lost our fucking minds. We've lost our fucking minds, folks. We're just trying to have fun. We're just trying to go outside and wave a firearm. What? Something wrong with that? Something wrong with that? Guys can't just go out and wave a firearm anymore? Is that what I'm hearing here, folks? Holy hell. We've lost the plot, is what I'm hearing. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. We'll see you next week at some time. Sometime I'll see you. We're getting back into the schedule. The swing of things, summer is over. It's over. It's wrapped up. Put a bow on it. It's done. It's over. Put a bow on it. The kids are coming back to school. Time is flying. You can't have fun no more. Blame your problems on someone else. And take care, everybody.